Yeah, my youngest is like that. She holds it pretty close to her. It's hard to gauge
Yeah.
where she's at. Where
Yeah.
my son's just like
Hayes.
he's out, he's just insane. Yeah, in terms of like it's just there's no issue. You there's no hiding emotions. It's
Right.
right on the sleeve. So
Wait, did he start his senior year?
oh no, he's a sophomore this year. So
He's a sophomore in college. Okay.
yeah, no, sophomore in high school.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, I started yet later
Wow,
than you, man.
yeah, I guess for some reason I thought they were older than that. So are
No,
you
no, no.
does he have any ideas? I mean, he's still got another year before things start to get a little hairy, but
He's totally into track.
yeah.
It's That's his thing, and but that said, he's been thinking about, and I don't know where this came from. I think maybe Stephanie sort of put this into his subconscious, but he's been talking about what is it, nurse practitioner.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's kind of interested. He was
Oh my
interested in
God.
maybe physical
There's
therapy,
employment
and
everywhere, right?
that's what he's been hearing. And we do have a cousin who was a physician's assistant. I forgot the name. It's a different, but it's like
Okay.
a nurse practitioner, and um, owns his own clinics and stuff. And so I think Hayes was like, that looks like a
Yeah.
potentially
And
good thing.
especially
So
as an athlete, maybe getting into like the sports medicine side,
exactly, yeah,
physio and stuff like that, that could be really cool
totally,
and really valuable too, I think. Yeah.
yeah. It's been fun. And did I send you the video of him his running his
No,
freshman? Oh, I'll send
no.
it to you. I
Is
sent
he
a
a middle distance or what is he?
He sprints. He's
Oh, he's a sprinter? No
100,
kidding.
200, and 400. And, I don't see Olympic speed, but he could do Division two.
Do you know what he's running the 100 in?
He ran, his PR for a freshman was 11 1, 11
Oh,
1 3.
oh
So
my
he's
God.
almost breaking 11. He's
He's
almost
going to
in,
be into 10 seconds pretty soon.
yeah. And he's
In the
his
wow.
200 is 22.1. So, and he was the number one. His 200 was the number one 200, speed uh, in Washington State. He was the number one freshman in all of Washington
Dude,
State. Yeah.
that's huge.
So he's got some wheels.
Will you send
He's
me that clip? I would love to
yeah,
see
I
that.
totally will. I totally will. I said, yeah, he's running against the big boys. So this year he gets beat a lot because he was a freshman. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's gonna come into his own in the next couple of years, I think.
Is
So
he able to put on, I mean, it's so hard for those guys to put on pounds and muscle
oh,
because they're growing so much.
he's
Is he
working on
able
it.
to
Yeah, he's getting there. He's getting there. All right, we should
put
start this
in?
thing. Hold on.
Okay.
Hey, okay, just don't talk for a second. I'm gonna do my intro. Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to Conversations with Curtis. Thank you so much for joining today. This is going to be a lot of fun, and for those of you who are tuning in because of my guest, and you may not have seen this our little YouTube channel before, I'll just very briefly say hello. My name is Paul Morgan Stetler. The reason this channel exists is 20, I don't know, 30 years ago, back in 1996, I starred in a full motion video game called Fantasmagoria, A Puzzle of Flesh, produced by Sierra Online. It was it's achieved a certain amount of cult status. It's the only video game I ever appeared in. And a few years ago, I started this channel and did a sort of oral history project where I reached out to the actors and the designers and all the folks who made the game, and we just shared our memories of it. And since then, I've played the game because I never played it before. And now I am on a weekly basis with my partner, Daniel Albu, playing games from that era, point and click adventure games, and then just newer games. And we're just having a great time. So it's been a fun channel. We've got a very devoted group of fans that are here. And I see a lot of you guys here. Thanks for joining today, guys. And what we also get to do is when we really like a game and have a good time, we'll reach out to the designers or the artists who were a part of that game. And my guest today also has, as far as I know, one video game credit. And my part was bigger than his. So I'll have that lord over him. That said, he has over 120 appearances on television and film and commercials, and so he's got me beaten that department. But Bob Clendenin is going to be here in just a second, and we're going to have a nice conversation. So before we do, I just want to say thank you to our Patreon members. These are the folks who make Conversations with Curtis happen. Somebody just got us to our goal today. Who was that? Thank you so much. I'm not sure if my...
Oh, baby!
There we go.
CJ tipped $30. It's been a while, smile.
CJ. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. That's very sweet. Very kind and generous. But so it's folks like CJ and the folks here that make Conversation with Curtis happen. If you can join us for a little while on our Patreon channel or our coffee website as a monthly donor, that would be super helpful. If you can't and you want to help just get to our goal today, which CJ helped me do, you can just go to coffee.com right down there and give a little something to help the channel stay alive. And if you give enough, we get to say, we get to shout out our top 7 over the last 30 days. So our top 7 as of last Monday is Top Fuel at number 1, Jouex at number 2, That Star Wars Guy at number 3, Atlas Redux at number 4, Big Kahuna, Moffat Reborn, and CompuArt. All right. I want to get my guest out here, so let me do my intro. I went to his Wikipedia page, so I'm going to read his this is going to be the intro. Robert I did not know his middle name. Treman, that's probably not the way I'm saying it. Clendenin, that'll be my first question, is an American actor. He is best known for portraying Tom Gazillion in the ABC comedy series Cougar Town and Dr. Paul Zeltzer in the comedy series Scrubs. He has played more than 110 roles in films, TV, and web series, including The Tick, Popular, Charmed, Will and Grace, and there's a whole bunch more. Blah, blah, blah. He worked with Bill Lawrence a whole bunch. His film, Other Work. Under Other Work, it says, Clendenin appeared in the 2011 Rockstar Games L.A. Noire as Erwin Bausman. Everybody, please say hello to our pal, my pal, Bob Clendenin. Where is he? There he is. What's up, dude?
Oh my God. This is such a treat for me. I can't tell you.
You know what it is it's fodder for relentless teasing in the future.
We will be revisiting it, but I'm so, I'm after the initial embarrassment of needing to bring in my wife for technical support on how to do this Zoom background. I'm really excited to be here. Now that I've over that hump of shame. I'm really, really looking forward to this conversation.
You were better than most, man. I'll tell you. This is.
We have such a history. It's very exciting to be able to talk to you in front of people, and we've known each other now for like 35 years.
How do I know you for 30 plus years and I never knew your middle name? What is this middle name?
You get it right, Treman. It's my mother's maiden name. It has kind of like a history. That's where if you see I wear that little signet ring, that's her side of the family. She's got sort of French borderline nobility, so it's
okay. So this is like you can walk into doors wearing that ring. You can
I can do that. Well, more importantly, if I write you a letter and wax the seal, I can stamp it.
That's great. How is your mom? Is she's still
she's good. Around? She's active. She's healthy. She's coming back from Australia in a couple of days. She's doing really well. Really well. Yeah.
That's
thank
great.
you.
All right, I'm going to get into your career in a second, and we'll work our way up to how we know each other. But
okay.
I want to start with I saw a Facebook post. I think it was your Facebook post. Oh no, where to go? I got to find it. It's on my phone. You work all the time, and you're. What did you do? What were you working on Wednesday? Is it super secret?
Wednesday was just a commercial for a game, but it's a I don't think it's an immersive game. It's something called Royal Kingdom, which I don't know anything about, but we were advertising it. So
okay, cool. So you might have another game credit.
So I may have another game gig. Yeah, who knows? At least I'm doing the commercial for it.
So on this is just classic Bob. So on social media, you wrote, "Hey, I made the last paragraph of a celebrity profile," and then I looked at the celebrity profile, and it's about Zach Braff being on a guest on the new Bad Monkey series produced by Bill Lawrence, who did Scrubs and Cougar Town, starring Vince Vaughn. And then they talked with is it Natalie Martinez, an actress. And at the very bottom of the paragraph of the whole article, I'm going to find it. Martinez, who plays Dr. Rosa Campesano, echoed Braff's statement in another interview, saying improv was encouraged on the set. One of her favorite memories filming was watching Vince Vaughn, and Bob Clendenin, who plays KG Claspers, improvise for around 10 minutes. And then she says, they just kept ping-ponging back and forth to each other. And then it was my turn to say my line. And I just was not there because I was so captivated by what was happening. I felt like I was a part of the audience watching. All right, you got to talk me through the 10 minutes.
Vince loves to just use the script as kind of a launching pad. Like it's he may do one that's as scripted, but it goes off the rails pretty quickly.
Was this something Bill Lawrence was accustomed to, or did he have to give up? I think
he had to rein him in a little bit, only because I think Bill really likes to get things scripted first and then give you the freedom to. And I remember on Scrubs, he was always throwing stuff out from the Video Village. Once they had what they wanted, he'd be throwing out lines. He'd say, "Okay, you get a free one. Do whatever you want, etc." Like, so he really likes that kind of creative. Cooperation. But I think Vince tended to launch earlier than maybe he would have loved. But I'm just there. I'm a guest star. I'm just like I did. I think five episodes of it, and he really just loves to just kind of throw you off your game. And as you know, that's
you don't have a game to be thrown off.
I don't have a game, so it was really, I was really happy. And I'm playing such an oddball.
Did any of it make it in? Did any of those?
I don't know. I haven't watched. Only 2 of my episodes have aired, and I haven't had the courage to watch them yet. So I'm
okay.
The one that she's referring to, I think, is next week, and I'll see what made it in. From there, but I played this oddball character, so like that meant the sky was the limit to bring in really weirdo references. And
you were playing an oddball, were you?
Yeah, I was kind of getting out of my comfort zone. Thank you.
Well, hey, let me. It's funny because I'm going to ask you questions that I either never asked you before because I didn't care, or I've forgotten because I'm getting old. But like, I forget where'd you grow up? Were you?
I mentioned Australia earlier. I grew up there. My parents moved there when I was 8, 9.
So where were you born?
I was born in Ohio, Newark, Ohio, because my dad was working there after school. He then went to graduate school in Boston, so I went there for 2 years, and then he went to when he was really employed. We went to the Bay Area.
What was his thing?
He was a business consultant. He worked for a really large business consulting company called McKinsey, and they were the ones that sent him from San Francisco to Australia to open the offices in Melbourne and Sydney.
So what are your general memories?
U.S. citizen, yeah.
Your general memories prior to Australia, because Australia sounds like your childhood pretty much, but you must
mostly prior memory was like the Bay Area. We lived in a part of outside San Francisco called San Mateo, little residential cul-de-sac, skateboarding, lemonade stand, that kind of thing until about the age of 9, and then we got uprooted, which is weird because it was a little bit of a culture shift going to Australia.
Yeah.
All boys school uniforms.
Oh, that's right. It's funny. I was in Australia this summer for my work, for my other work, and yes. I go into schools, and so they're all wearing uniforms. Mm-hmm. I mean, these are primary schools. You were probably a little old. No, you were still in primary school at the time.
No, right? Secondary too. Yeah.
And all wearing uniforms. They all have floppy hats because
right.
of the sun, right? It's like it's state issued hats, bucket hats.
Right.
And yeah.
Were they single sex or were they co-ed? The schools you went to?
Both. Yeah. A couple there. I found there were more. I visited more all girls schools. I don't, okay. But yeah, most of the places I went to were mixed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a huge culture shock. What part of the
We
where?
lived in Melbourne,
Okay.
big city, but really a great place to grow up. I mean, that's why my parents, they were supposed to be a 3-year gig. They fell in love with it, so we left the company. They stayed. My mother still lives there half the year.
Oh my gosh.
It's just a great place to raise a family because,
You don't
you
go. Do
know,
you go back much? Because I don't
I
hear
took
you.
the whole family back about 5 years, just prior to the pandemic. We went back, I think, in 2017 with my 2 boys and my wife.
Oh,
And we were
Melbourne's
there for like
great.
3 or 4 weeks. It was great. Stayed with my mother a little bit, then traveled around. But it's just a beautiful country. People are great. Beer's delicious.
Yeah, I know.
Everything's good.
Did you how quickly? Yeah, it's it's not much of in terms of. I'm sure it was a culture shock, but it could have been much worse because it's so Americanized
Yeah.
in so many. And I don't know if that's the right way, but they're just very similar. In it was not too hard to get around there and stuff.
Assimilate, right. And
Yeah,
the language is not a barrier. It's
for
just
sure.
they talk
Yeah,
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So then, how long were you there?
10 years. They came back to the US to go to college, back in the US, and then off to Penn State.
When
Or
did you? What was the? Were you when you went to undergrad? It wasn't for theater, was it?
no, it was engineering. I thought I was
Okay,
going to
so
be an engineer. I was really good in math and science. I thought, oh, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. I mean, I still like them, but the engineering, I just didn't really resonate. I didn't love it. I wasn't really applying myself. Particularly, I was kind of just snoozing through it. And then I started, I saw an advertisement to do a play, like a little West Campus kind of, not even the real schools theater. It was like an offshoot, like the drama club kind of thing. And there was a
this was in
play.
college. You
This
hadn't
is
done
in college,
anything,
yeah.
and you didn't
Yeah.
do any little.
Nothing. I mean, I tried and I was told, actually, I can tell you a story. Um, in the high school in Australia, I auditioned for Death of a Salesman, and I still had mostly an American accent because we just come from there. And the director literally said, "I wish we could put your accent on someone who could act." This is the tenderness of Australian schoolmasters. And so I just never tried again until college. I was like, oh, I'll try. And then I auditioned for this little goofy little play,
That's
drama club
amazing.
play. Loved it. Loved the people. They were so different than the engineers. They were so outgoing
Yeah,
and giving back rubs to each other and partying and stuff. And I thought, oh, this feels like more of my people.
yeah.
And then I auditioned for like the more legitimate theater. They were doing a midsummer production of Midsummer, and I got in that, and I got deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of loving. Look at
Top
that.
Fuel tipped $20. Hello, Bob.
Oh,
Had to
that's
come and
fantastic.
see. The curiosity got to me.
So
Hold on just a sec.
and then as
Yeah.
you know, decided to continue it. So I never worked as an engineer. Went straight from undergrad
Did
science
you got
degree
the
to,
you got the degree though?
yeah, with I think like an asterisk, like it's like a Barry Bonds thing. It's like they just wanted me out.
Right, right.
Just go.
Um, well, hey, thanks Top Fuel for that. By the way, I didn't tell you. We're gonna get. Yeah, there will eventually be like some widgets popping up when people give
Okay. Be
donations, and you
prepared.
hear.
Oh,
And there's a
great.
little bit of they get to have their comment. It's read aloud by our AI guy. So it's just a fun way to connect.
Will I hear that?
Oh, I don't know if I have. I have to share sound, but yeah, I think I have to. You won't hear it right now.
Okay.
Don't worry
Okay.
about it.
All
But
right.
yeah. I well, wait. You have a brother, right?
Yeah, got a younger brother.
That's Duncan, right?
Told to follow a totally different path. He's a Navy pilot.
How's he
He's
doing? Where's he at these days?
really a good engineer. He lives in Tucson, Arizona. He's got 3 kids. He left the Navy. Now he's working with a startup, business
Huh?
guy.
Wow, a
Yeah,
huge change. Does he still
huge
fly
difference.
at all?
He has a little private plane. He has a little Navion, which is those they kind of look like the Gulfstreams, that aluminum, that shiny aluminum. It's like that, but in a plane. It's a little 4-seater propeller plane, and
Have you gone up?
Yeah, he forced me to. I wasn't volunteering real quick. That's not
I
kind of my
had a buddy
thing.
when I was in college who was studying to be a pilot, and so we were in California, Northridge. We went to Cal State Northridge together, and
Yeah.
so he had to get his hours, and so we would just I was a little crazy because he wasn't very good yet. But I would whenever I would go, we would go to Santa Barbara for lunch. We'd go to Catalina for lunch. Because he
No
just needed
kid,
to
and you
get
loved
it.
it.
It was so great. It was a
See,
great,
yeah.
a free flight to Catalina Island, go get a bite to eat, and then get back on the plane and come home.
Are you a roller coaster guy too? Or you
I
or
was. I don't think I am anymore.
yeah, well, I think as you age it.
Yeah. What do you? Are you? Would you still
No,
want
not
to?
particularly. Like I'm just not much of a thrill seeker.
Were you then?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't think
I
so.
loved it. Yeah, I loved that stuff back in the day, but I don't think I want to
I
do it
would do
anymore.
it, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we're in college. Where was the college again?
This is Cornell. I went to Cornell for
Cornell.
undergrad. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing
See, you seeing a pattern?
seeing a pattern. We just talked a little bit before the stream. So both your boys seem
Both of
to
our
be,
boys are there. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
interesting. Their choice, huh? That's their
Yeah,
absolutely their
right.
choice.
Absolutely. I was, no, honestly, I was super, and Erin's my wife, we were super intent on not tiger momming either of our kids, like
That was the goal.
we see too much of it, like no
Yeah.
pressure. Don't go wherever you want. You can go anywhere and get a great education. My brother went to U of A. He loved it. It was great for him. Like everybody finds their spot, it's, I just, I cringe sometimes when I see
Yeah,
these
I'm
kids have
not
enough
buying any of this. You
pressure.
pushed them like crazy. Get out of here. Um, so so Cornell. So then, do you take any time before grad school, or do you go straight
No,
into it?
went straight in. Well, I sort of did only because it took me an extra semester to finish that engineering. So I had one semester to kill where I just hung around and made bad choices. Um, uh,
Yeah,
and then went to grad school.
those are the best times, I think.
Those are
So
the best
yeah.
times.
So you got into Penn State, and so
Yeah,
you were there 2 years before me. So
correct.
we only crossed paths for your last year. But like,
For
tell
that
me,
1 year.
what was that? What was that a
Um,
culture shock for you getting to that school
well,
to?
I just never had, and as much as I was really loving this acting thing, I didn't have any real training. I'd never taken a voice class or a movement class or anything. I'd done a lot of improv in college, but that was kind of the extent of it. So really going into a training program where it's pretty regimented, and I mean they worked us pretty hard. I mean, we were starting at going from like 8 to 4 in class, and then have rehearsal for something for 7 to 11, and then you're memorizing your lines between the things. And
Yeah, it
so
was a
it was
bizarre situation because one of the cool things about that scholarship that you would get is a for you to get the full scholarship. It was like two part-time things, and the first one was teaching undergrad, which was kind of crazy to be teaching
at that.
acting when you're still trying to learn how to do it, or you're in a program that's trying to teach you how to do it. So that was
Right.
strange. And then they had this very cool program where a woman by the name of Helen Manful, she ran this theater history class, and it was a big survey class, tons of people, like maybe 300 students, if
Mhm.
I'm not mistaken, maybe less, but it was a huge sort of forum. And she would stand in front of this big group and basically they would start from the Greeks and work their way throughout the semester all the way to. And what she decided was because just reading plays could be so boring that she used grad students to do scenes from all of these plays in front of these students. It's called Theater 101. And so you did that for a couple years, right?
Yeah, did that
Yeah.
for
So you're like
2 years.
learning lines, on Monday, and then Tuesday you're performing it in front of
Yeah, it
300
was
kids.
crazy. It was real intense kind of boot camp. Because you're going up with it, you didn't have a script in it, you had to go up and do scenes and
Yeah.
period.
And it was
Um,
funny because I actually appreciated this because the rigor of training was early on so much about not performing, but finding your craft. And yet in the morning you just have to throw something up against the wall, the
yeah,
absolute opposite of training, right? But it
right.
was a nice balance of like, sometimes you just got to do it, and then yeah.
Yeah. I still am fascinated by how she started that class every semester.
Oh yeah,
Can
yeah.
I tell that?
Well, absolutely, yeah.
So what she would do is she would take two of these grad students and place them in, or have them sit somewhere in the lecture hall on day one, first class ever, and start a fight with each other, as if they were students. and it would also get almost physical. Like
Yeah.
the talking would get louder and louder. People would start to pay attention to what's going on over there, and then the two people would stand up. There would be some shoving, and then somebody would come in and kind of break them apart and take them away. And then Helen, the instructor, would go, "You were all riveted by that. You were all like, you couldn't take your eyes off what was happening. Why doesn't that happen in the theater? When you go to see a play, you sit back, you kind of shuffle through your program, you listen to the words, there's nothing, but we're not like captivated by, this thing that's happening." And because it's so real, and it was just a great launch pad into like,
Yeah.
let's get away from that dead audience
Yeah,
mindset
absolutely.
and
She kind of
engage
gives she punks her students on the very first day, and the actors come back in and they say that they haven't done it. But yeah, I remember that. That was a powerful
It was
moment.
really powerful. The unfortunate thing was, when I was there, one of our fellow actors was Craig Wallace, brilliant actor, one of my best friends, who's African American, and there were not a lot of African Americans at Penn State. So obviously, Helen always would put me and Craig in there, and it would very quickly turn into a racial thing, which got super awkward. I didn't enjoy it because I'm saying, you're saying stuff you don't want to be saying, but like, people, it's taken their breath away, and
Wow.
and really, it was. I was like, please don't make me do this.
Yeah, right, totally.
Right.
And it's still, that was, that's
Yeah.
interesting. We did we did a show there, right? Didn't we?
Well, we did Majestic Kid.
I wasn't in that. That was a great show. I love
Oh,
that.
you
But we
didn't do
did
that?
we did Marat Sod, I think.
Yes, you had a big role in Marat Sod. I think I was just a crazy person walking around stage.
Do you remember the music we used for that? I still listen to this album. It's Lou Reed's album, New
Yes.
York.
Yes, it's from New York, which was a great album. I
Yeah.
forgot that we used that.
Busload of Faith was one of the
Yep.
songs, and
Yep.
and you guys, it was a great moment because the scene, the empty stage, chairs everywhere, and then as the the lights come up, you just hear this Lou Reed song. It's so just pounding, and then a trap door opens
Yeah.
on the stage, and you just see these, just this group
They're
of like
inmates.
30 crazy inmates coming out of this floor, and it was a really cool opening.
People that kind of blew people away, and it was really irreverent. I don't know if you remember some of the stuff that John Neville Andrews had in a community that can be fairly religious and stuff. He really pushed some buttons, and there were a lot of people that would walk out of that show.
Yeah.
Usually within the first 10 minutes, they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is not for me," which is exciting when you're a performer. Like, I hate to lose you as an audience member, but we at least got to you so much that we triggered this response, which is kind of
some people.
It's a feeling of power. Right.
You have to tell the story of, so you had a great, one of your classmates was your roommate. At least he was your roommate your last year, Bill.
Yeah.
And you two had a history of practical jokes.
Pranking each other, yeah.
And so I don't know how you want to build up to it, but I want to hear, the one I want to hear about.
Yeah, right? I know the one. So it started small, mild stuff, just booby trapping little things in the apartment, whatever. I started to escalate it. I found a really embarrassing photo of him from like when he was 15, where he had this Prince Valiant haircut, and I made like 100 copies of a flyer as if he was doing this Prince Valiant retrospective, and I put them all over campus, and so he had to run around trying to find where I put all these things.
Was it like, have you seen this man, or what was?
Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, exactly. And then I can't remember how he replied, but then I think the one you're referring to was the Comforter one, where really,
so I want to hear the Comforter story. So he did something, I forgot, he did something pretty impressive to combat that one.
Afterwards?
But I mean, you didn't do two in a row. I mean, he had done something.
He'd done something, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay.
But it was good. I mean, it took the game up. It was okay, we're playing for keeps now. So, and he'd been having this recurring dream about, it was sort of a nightmare about being lost and being swallowed up by his bed, etc., and all this stuff. And so I thought, oh, okay, I can really use this to my advantage. When he was at rehearsal, I was not, and I actually got, a Comforter has that opening so you can take the bedding out and wash it. I opened it up and I got inside the Comforter and closed it up and kind of did spread eagle on the bed, so I was still lying pretty flat. And I
How
waited for
long
him.
how long
I was
did
there for
you
a good 30, 40 minutes because I knew he'd be home around 11:30, something like that. And so, but I wanted to be prepped just in case he came home early. And so I was there and I waited. I heard him come in, heard him call for me. I'd moved my car so he didn't know that
oh,
I
you
was
weren't there?
home. and and I just stayed there. And eventually, I heard him get his juice and watch a little TV. Then he finally came into his room and he got into the crawled into bed, and I just flopped on top and then let it sit there for a while. And then I started doing little shimmy and stuff, and then I started like putting more weight on him, and that's when he just flailed the thing up, and God damn, he started swearing, "Bob, get out!" And he was really annoyed because I think I took his breath away. It was great.
Oh, that's so funny. I tell this story and I have my own version of that now. So it's fun
Is
hearing
it
your
is it
side
ta- is it
because
taking a life of its own?
a little bit. I think that mine was you emerged, like he sat on the edge of the bed or he came in or something, and then you just sort of, rose from the bed and came towards him. And
Oh,
then I have I think in my story he runs out of the apartment and screaming down the street. I think that's where I took that one.
that's a better finale. Um, Yeah, no, there was pranking people is still one of my all-time favorite. I love being the victim of pranks. I love pranking particularly on set. Like I know that I understand, and I think you're the same ilk when you don't have a lot of lines. Maybe you're in a crowd scene or
Oh, yeah.
something, but like whispering to the other actors or just saying stuff or doing things just to throw people off is one of my all-time favorite things.
I think it was Donnie, a friend of ours. You take lines in Shakespeare that really don't have, he is, this is the one I always remember from, I think I had a small part in Merchant of Venice or something. And the line was, "He is ready at the door, my lord." And so the idea is, well, how can you make something more of that? And so if you just put a little comma between door and my lord, so he is ready at the door. My lord.
Well, the classic is Romeo and Juliet. We had a ball with this because there's
Hi, Nick, I know
uh
this story. Is this
the
Schwaggart?
this is Melanie Van Betten. This is the Hear Me But Speak.
No.
I mean, the line is Hear Me But Speak, but forever it was like Hear Me But Speak. Um, which we couldn't get
I've
enough
never
of.
heard that one. That's new
Yeah.
for me. Well, did you remember we had a classmate that was in my class named Paul, and he did Romeo and Juliet, and his line, he played Romeo, and the line was, "We met, we wooed, we made exchange of vow," and one night he goes, "We met, we mooed, we made exchange of wow."
That's great. We
Kind
used
of
to make
works.
we used to make the high school matinees when we were Penn State and they do like some classical thing and have the high schools bust in for a matinee performance, which were usually never really very good because the kids didn't want to be there and it was whatever. But so we'd keep it lively by we'd have a hat backstage before the show with all sorts of random words in it, and you had to select a word or two and try at some point during the course of the show to get that word into one of your lines on stage. And I got kumquat one time, which was not easy, but I did it.
So we finish, after you leave Penn State, so I'm there for a couple more years, and then I don't really see you for a long time because I moved down to Seattle.
Yeah.
Gina and I moved down there. 3 years later, I was there for 4 years before I moved to LA. So in that 7 years from Penn State to when I got to see you again. Can you talk us through that? I mean, where did you go straight to LA?
No,
How did you get?
I had to be humbled, dramatically humbled. And this is how it happened. Like, you leave a program like that, and you kind of think you're impressive and you're kind of a little more full of yourself than you deserve to be. And I certainly was. Because you get cast really well and you're only competing against five other people for certain roles. So it's not a
Right.
big, you don't really know what the real world's like. So the job that I got after Penn State was at a theater in Pennsylvania, and it was a children's tour of a short story called The Nose by Gogol, and it was about a guy's nose comes to life and starts to take on a life of its own. And I was the nose, and so I'm literally in this styrofoam nose, like like a horrible mascot where your arms kind of stick out the sides, and I'd had
Did they
and your
tempt you with this? Because hey, you're going to play. The good news is you're going to play the lead in this play.
yeah, no, they tried this upsell. The upsell was it was paid and it would get me my equity card. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. But so we're touring middle schools, and with this huge styrofoam nose, with my arm sticking out. The kids aren't into it. They're shooting rubber bands at me, which I can't feel because it's just bouncing off all the styrofoam. It was 3 months of that. It was really talk about getting pegged down, going, okay, you're going back to base level before we so I did that, and then I did one or two other like regional theater gigs, and then I went to Los Angeles around 92, 93.
Did you know anybody there?
I knew my friend from undergrad was established. He had a real job. He was trying to be a writer, and he had a place I could crash for a while until I got sort of found a temporary work and was able to get an apartment of my own. But yeah, he had some friends. He was doing
So
theater.
you didn't have an
sports.
agent. Did
I
you
had
have
no
an
agent. No
So
agent.
you go
No
there.
union.
All right. So what's
So,
what's
yeah, I mean, it's brutal. It was brutal. Now, this is back in the 90s where everybody had headshots that they'd send out. You'd mail out to all these agencies. I get no response. People weren't interested. It was just one closed door after another. I think that the sort of story, which is I was sort of telling in a way that I had this friend who had no success, kept sending out agency pictures. And he's like, I'm leaving, I'm out of here, I'm out of LA. He had a photographer or a friend of his take a picture of the back of his head, and he had a bunch of those made and sent those out. And he had 2 people respond because it was such a weird thing to do. It was like, oh, I guess that's how the game is played. It's just a very different.
What's funny is when I was there, and the same thing. I moved down there, didn't know anybody. Had a little bit of money from this game that that is based on this channel. I got I was told don't go for agents because they are just go for casting directors because they might be a little more open. So I got like the casting director book. You get it like the book,
Smart.
whatever, Samuel French bookstore, and there's just a whole list of from A to Z all the casting directors. And so, and as you said, you would have to get copies of your headshot, your resume stapled on the back. You'd have to write a cover letter, and you put it all in a manila envelope and send it out through the mail. We'd send out 50, 60 of these a day.
It's expensive,
Yeah, it's
right?
super expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had this moment where I'm like, I'm not getting any responses. And then I thought, well, you know what? I'm doing what everybody else is doing. You're starting at the beginning of the book. I bet you no one starts at the end. So I started sending, I went to like the Z's, and I started sending, and like within like a week, I get a call from Deborah Zane, who was a huge casting director at the time.
Huge.
And she said, no one sends me these. And I'm
That's
like,
so funny because they've run out of money by the time they get to like M.
Totally. So by the time, she got me an interview. That was my first job at Pleasantville.
That's a great story.
Yeah,
That's really good.
So you're there for
how
long before things start to...
It was pretty grim for about 2 years. And
were you working, or what were you doing to get by?
Yeah, I worked in a bakery, and I tutored SAT.
I did not know this stuff. That's crazy.
I worked in the phone center of a bakery. It was Mrs. Beasley's. They did all these high-end muffin baskets, and and I can tell
Is that on
Mrs.
your resume?
Beasley's. I don't know how adult your audience is, but I can tell a Mrs. Beasley's story later if you want to.
I would love to hear Mrs. Beasley's story.
So I did that, and there was about 2 years I did a couple of little waiver theater, 99-seat theater plays, and then I finally got an agent who she was halfway between Los Angeles and San Diego, and what she would do, her whole gig was, because there were about 3 or 4 shows that were shooting in San Diego, she would take LA actors in as clients but sell them as local talent in San Diego. Which meant that they had to drive down to San Diego. Right. If they got the job, they had to put themselves up. So you were taking a hit, but at least you were getting seen. And I signed with her, and she got me an audition for Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas, which apparently I nailed, because I had one line that said, was like, "Shut up, hog, get back in your cell." And I just scorched that so well that, I got the job. And then, so I drove down to
And
San
they were shooting
Diego,
down in San Diego, so
shot
you go
down to San
down to, yeah.
Diego as Lorenzo Lamas, and that guy that, do you remember Revenge of the Nerds? I think he played
Oh yeah.
Animal, the huge guy. He was
Yeah.
yeah, so he was, I was like, and I was kind of starstruck. I was like, oh my gosh, I know that guy from a movie. And I was had a scene with him where he said, "Shut up, hog." But that got me in the union, and eventually that led to more jobs, and I was able to kind of leave the San Diego, LA agency and get a more legit one up in Los Angeles. And it just kind of, I mean, like, my career has just gone, kind of been like little, just baby steps, just up a path. Like, other people I think have, they hit something huge, they're a series regular, they shoot up here, and then there's no work for 4 years, and they shoot, like, and I've just been much more consistently.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but you know, has that, did you have to reconcile yourself to that after a while? That it wasn't going to be, or were you always hoping for the big thing?
No,
And
I
surprised
actually
you didn't
didn't.
get it?
That's a great question, but no, that's not. Like, people said, like, civilians will be like, "Well, don't you want to, be a star of a movie?" I'm like, no, I kind of don't. I love being that one guy. I made the analogy once when I was giving a talk about how, I feel like, I made the joke that I'm in a recipe on cumin, right? Like, you don't want a whole meal that's based on cumin, but it's really nice to have a bit of it in the
Yeah.
dish, right? It makes it
Yeah.
more interesting, and it's more. And so, like, I think that I feel like with some of the character people and the people that I really, like, like like the ultimate example would be somebody like John Cassell,
Yeah.
like one of my all-time favorites, who, like, only did like 4 movies. They're all like Oscar
All,
winners,
yeah, right.
but every memorable character, Fredo, Dog Day Afternoon, like, just taking, just chewing on these wonderful character roles. And that's what I just love that far more than having all the lines or getting the girl or anything. Not that anybody's asking
And
me
I,
to,
I
but
guess the other thing too would be if you did get, and you've done some series regular stuff. But I would imagine too that if you got locked into a leading character, best friend, whatever, in a show, you're stuck playing that guy for however long that show is, where you're bouncing around. And I mean,
yeah.
we'll look at some of the photos that but you just get a chance to, you don't get to, you get to keep playing as opposed to stay stuck in the one thing.
And there's something, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm inherently lazy, but like, you have, for, a show like Cougar Town or Scrubs or something, I'd only work 1 or 2 days of the week. You come in, you have 3 punchlines, and then you leave, like, so you get all the laughs, you don't do any of the hard work.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a nice gig. I really don't, I would not trade it for anything.
And what's the yeah, I mean, you've been doing this for long enough now that I think that you've probably I guess to what degree did you stop panicking that it was going to all go away? Like, because you were probably building, you're like, okay, I'm getting some gigs,
Yeah.
that seemed like you never stopped. Did you ever have like a huge,
Yeah.
gap?
No.
Okay.
No, and I was really lucky with a bunch of shows where I was hired for one show as a guest star for like one episode, but they liked me enough or thought I was enough of a good add-on that they would write future episodes with me included. And that happened a bunch of times. That 70s show, Caroline in the City, Good Morning Miami, like, where it was supposed to be one thing. And then Cougar
That's
Town was
fun.
the ultimate example, where, like, it was one episode that turned into like 60. Like, they just made me a regular by the third season, which was really,
You want, that's the goal, right? You want to go in
yeah.
there and have them go, we can't let this guy go. We gotta give
Yeah,
him more
it's
stuff.
really funny, and still only 1 or 2 scenes each episode, but it's like, again, it's the cumin. It's just this is a good spice, and it works with the rest of the dish, so we'll get more of it.
And I know that I know you're a carpenter. You do a whole bunch of things. You've been bringing up kids. Did you ever want to branch out into other aspects of the business?
Now, I tried briefly with a friend to write, and I just don't think I'm very good at it. I think I'm a really good improviser. I think I'm good at writing stuff that I would say. I think I'm terrible at writing characters. I can't write. I don't think big picture in terms of narrative. So that was a frustrating experience. I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be easier, and you realize that writing is really, really good. Writing is really, really hard.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't. I don't deal with stress like being as a producer or a director is not really appealing. I like having my specific job that I can do and then turn it off and go back and either be with family or one of my hobbies or go drinking with friends or whatever. I mean, I don't those guys who do like, you think of somebody like a Tyler Perry or somebody who or Bill Lawrence or any of those guys who have 20 different things happening at the same time, and you are juggling constantly and you have no room and there's some people that really can thrive on that, and it tends to shut me down. I just don't
I met this
function
guy.
with that much.
I did a gig in. You ever been to Clayton, New York? Ever heard of Clayton, New York?
I have not.
Anyways, it's just very beautiful sort of. We did a Letters Aloud gig there a couple months back, and the guy I met and the woman who runs the opera house, he was a 20-year Navy veteran. They both were. She runs she's the CEO of a big not-for-profit opera house. He runs a fishing expedition and a tourist, and then they also have their own wildlife sanctuary.
Wow.
And it just they do all the stuff, and you just think I watch television, or
I'm tired already.
I care. I play games on a couple days a week. I can't. It's so impressive, but it doesn't make me want to be them. I think they're probably living a more interesting life, no doubt, than I am, and a more full one. But it doesn't make me want to do it. I tell you the one
thing: if you were able to go back and just restart again, how would you do anything differently? The one thing that I've thought that I might have missed an opportunity was getting involved early with one of those companies like Groundlings, Second City, UCB. I think that kind of improv stuff keeps you really sharp as a performer, but I also think that those relationships you build with those early people last forever. And
sorry about that. You got stuck with me, and you got stuck with
and that paid off zero dividends. But you see those people. Well, we all came together in UCB. A lot of the SNL people, they were all like working together private. So I think that if I was to go back, was talking to somebody who was just starting out here, I'd be like, get involved with one of those groups that really you're going to hopefully ride with those people for the next couple of decades.
I think for me, it would have been producing. I think for me, my favorite thing is getting good people that make me laugh or inspire me or whatever from different walks of my life, and getting them in the room together and seeing how they interact. That to me is one of my favorite things in the world to do. And
well, I mean, that's what you're doing with Letters Aloud. I mean,
right. I finally got to that to a certain degree. Yeah.
Undertaking. I mean, to coordinate all that, and you're also coordinating the business side, the travel side, all that stuff, and the creative side. You're being a performer, and you're curating.
It's true. I get to do all that, and I get to watch good performers read these letters. You and I went on they took you on a tour to, was it downtown
Idaho,
Wyoming, and Idaho, and
we went to the
nothing but the
Museum.
best for you.
That was fun. Driving a van through the snow to the Potato Museum that's a highlight. But to me, those are great. It's a little bit Spinal Tappy, but it's just so much fun, and you're with people that you really, really care for. And
do you remember the biggest potato chip in the world?
It was at the museum. It had a crack in it, like the Liberty Bell.
It did, and you could tell they were so bummed. It had to be what's the chips that are in the tube? What's that?
Oh, Pringles.
I think it was a Pringle. I think it was.
You think it was a Pringle?
But it's considered the biggest chip in the world. It's in a glass case.
It was in a glass case.
But it had a crack in it, and it was just like so. That must have been so heartbreaking for whoever that person was.
Because it was like Gary who was unloading it from the van. He's like, oh no,
totally. Which I doubt is how the Liberty Bell got cracked. It wasn't.
Right, exactly.
That was probably from a shell from the British Army. So I don't know if you remember the story. I want to see if you have the same memory of it as I do. But so I was in LA. I'm sure we kept in, but there was no internet. So if we kept in touch, I might have sent you a letter, or I don't know
Okay.
I don't know if I talked to you at all, quite honestly, after you graduated. I stayed in touch with Donahue and my buddies Todd and all those guys, but I don't know if you and I knew you were in LA. I knew you were
Yeah.
making TV and you get on TV and film and such. So I finished doing Phantasmagoria. I got some money and I go, okay, this is my chance. So I go down to LA, and a buddy of mine puts me up in he has an apartment in Westwood. And so I'm there for a couple months. I know Todd Beadle, I shouldn't be saying all these names. My buddy
Jonathan
Todd,
Foster.
Jonathan
Was it
Foster.
Foster that put you?
He wasn't. It was another guy. So I
Okay.
don't think you knew him. I ended up taking over that apartment from my old high school friend who originally had it. So at some point, I'm like, I know Bocce. I got to get in touch with him. And I had seen a picture in the newspaper because you had started this theater company with your friends, who I ultimately got involved with. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I'd seen that you were a part of this Equity Waiver Theater. Was making this. You had just done your first play. It got great reviews. And I'm like, dang it, I got to get a hold of Bob. So I don't know. I somehow get your phone number. And I call you up and get you on the phone. And you're like, hey, how you going? I'm like, where are you? I go, now, do you remember this?
Yeah, this is coming back. Yeah.
So I'm like, well, we got to get together. And you go, I'd love to. And he goes, you're like, where are you? I'm like, and I'm in Westwood. And you say,
I'm in Westwood.
and I go, well, whereabouts? and you're like, well, I'm on this street. And I go, well, that's on the other, wait a minute. And I go, and I'm on Selby. And you're like, wait a minute, that's like we're on the other side. We're the
We were
one
like
street over.
we were 1 block from each other.
And this is the part that I don't know. I don't think I'm making this up. I think you said, wait a minute. Go out. Do you have a backyard? I go, well, I'm upstairs and like I have like a little balcony. He goes, go out on your balcony, and you open your back door, and we're on our phones in all of Los Angeles.
This all comes back now. It was
In
hilarious.
all of Los
Hey,
Angeles, which is the
All
most
of Los
sprawling place in
Yeah.
the world. I'm like,
Yeah.
how can I find Bob Clendenin? Where
That
could he
is-
possibly be? And I could have climbed the fence and been hanging out in your
That's too
backyard.
funny. Hey, coming back. I did not know how Phantasmagoria happened for you. That cast not in Los Angeles?
No, I was still in Seattle. So I moved to Seattle out of grad school because Penn State didn't do anything
They
to
didn't. They
launch
were
you. There was
really
no,
bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we didn't get agents or showcases. or
Showcases,
anything.
nothing. Yeah.
So my girlfriend at the time, who was a member of one of my classmates, Gina, and I thought we got a job. I think you did too, right out of grad school at the Utah Shakespeare Festival.
Yeah.
And that kind of bought us some time. And so we were there for 3 months doing repertory theater, which was great. And we had we didn't want to go to New York or Los Angeles because we didn't have agents. We thought we'd kind of get swallowed up. So we thought, let's go to one of the smaller cities. And we were fully committed to Chicago.
Yeah.
And then people kept saying, well, cold it gets. I go, well, it can't get colder than Pennsylvania. But then I go, well, there's this wind chill factor that might be.
Right.
But then at the time, everybody at the Utah Shakespeare Festival was saying, well, do you know about Seattle? Because it was just like the hottest, like maybe 16 equity theaters. And so little by little, we thought, well, it's not, it's more temperate. It's West Coast, which I'm comfortable with. Let's give it a go. So we just moved sight unseen to Seattle, and slowly, temped and did all the stuff. We got our equity cards.
Was there a group of you? Was it you and Gina?
It was just me and Gina, and then
Okay.
no one else from Seattle. All the people I met were already Seattleites. But in '96, so that time I got my equity card. I don't know if I got my SAG card, but I had an agent. I was doing a lot of local voiceovers and industrial, corporate videos for Microsoft, and just so I had an agent that was getting me out for commercials and whatever came through town. And I had a couple of theater gigs lined up that I was excited about. And then she called and said, hey, they're looking for someone for this video game. it's a big contract. It's, it's 3 or 4 months and you'd be the lead. You should go in and read for it. I'm like, well, I got the long story short. I've told this story a million times, but I ultimately went in. These guys had, they were sort of scrambling because they lost their lead actor who they did cast down in Los Angeles. His name's Brad Greenquist. I found him out.
Okay.
I found out who he was. And then a couple of years ago, I tracked him down. And so I could see if he
Did he come on the
remembered.
show?
He came on the show. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
We had a
That's
great
really
talk. Yeah. And he remembered, and he was like famous for being in a Stephen King film, Pet Sematary. And so anyways, really quickly, I went in, it's that classic story where if you don't want it, I just kind of, I didn't care. And I went in and they're like, you're brilliant. I'm like, no, what are you talking about?
I'm bored. I want to leave.
Yeah. So
Sure enough, that's great.
Yeah. So they
And
offered
you
me-
shot it there?
We shot it up here. They were like right over here. In, sort of near Bellevue. They had a sound stage. And so our game, the game prior to ours, and most of these classic FMV games were shot almost entirely green screen.
Yeah.
And so ours was kind of unique because they built a set. We shot on location. So it has a really wonderful cinematic look to it. But yeah, I was in every scene, and it was my first time ever being really in front of a camera. And it was grueling days. It took almost 6 months to shoot, and
Wow.
crazy, weird, because you had to film everything a million times because the
For all
player
the
has to
different-
make some choices, right?
Yeah.
So it was great.
Oh, that's such a cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't really, it unfortunately didn't sell. And it's only over the years that it's found, its audience, but it didn't have they were hoping for it to be the next big
Was
thing.
that a union gig or was that before the union?
It was my, it was a
So
union.
did you have to join to do it, or had you already joined for something else?
I think I had to join to do it. I think
Yeah.
I was already like Taft-Hartley or something. But
Yeah.
So anyways, that was what brought me down. But, and then you and I connected, and then I realized you were starting this theater company with some Penn State folks. And for about 3 years, we made some pretty amazing theater.
We really did. I mean, we were one of the best in the city, and those shows were blowing people away. What we were doing on no budget, these new works that were really interesting, exciting. We had these designers like Gary Smoot who were building these sets with literally a $300 budget that were, so inventive. I mean, I think about the cactuses in Texarkana, which we were fabulous in. I wasn't in, but it was a great show. These cactuses that he made out of garbage bags that would inflate from a pump built into the stage. So like,
It wasn't even a pump. It was hair dryers. He bought hair dryers.
oh, a little hair dryer, which were activated like they would activate,
Yeah.
like they were plugged in, but then you'd like make the switch go hot.
So the
it
whole
would-
the whole set was one of the scenes. The character I played has this imaginary life because he's traumatized, and so he's living in his dream world. And in his dream world, it's kind of a cowboys and Indians, very 50s style, gun smoke kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
And so Gary is like, well, I want to create this world that he's living in. And so every time I was out on the prairie or in a saloon or outside or something, you'd hear this cool, we had a live musician playing cool, slide guitar. And then all of a sudden these garbage bag cactuses would just blow up and be perfect, and then once we went to the other scene, which was more real, they would just reverse make the suction and it would just suck right back in. It was so cool.
People, more often than not, people would applaud the cactuses blowing up because they never see anything like it. It's like,
Well,
have you
the
ever
one
seen
that I'll
a set
never
change get
forget-
applause? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
The one I'll never forget is we did a play. You and I were actually both in this. I think it's only like the second or third play you and I ever did together, but a play called Great Men of Science, which was really the play that, I mean, of all the plays I think I've ever done, I'm about as proud of that one as that everybody in the world should have seen that production.
Yeah.
But we did it in this attic theater, maybe 40, 50 people. And it's about these unknown scientists who either created or almost, they never achieved fame, but they were doing very fascinating things. And in one of them, a guy is trying to figure out where it isn't. He's trying to figure out what makes life. What is the
Yeah.
what's the is it what is it in the semen, and he's working with frogs, and the other character is working with ducks. So it's two
Frogs and ducks. Yeah.
frogs and ducks. And there's a moment where they meet each other, and they're supposed to be at a pond where the way they both get their idea, that they both have their moment of like the light bulb going off, and one goes, "Oh, frogs, I'm going to work with them," and the other one's like, "Ducks, I'm going to make a mechanical duck," and then they go off and the play takes off. So Gary, the same designer, is like, "Well, how do I?" So you should share. You should tell what he does with. Do you remember how he made the frogs and the ducks?
I can't remember what I mean, I remember that the ducks had, well, first of all, the duck pond was just those like noodles, pool
Pool noodles, yeah.
that were sort of made into a little circle. And then the ducks, it was almost like a paper mache duck, or was it?
No, it was a two-dimensional cutout duck, two-dimensional cutout.
Oh, that's right. It's only
frogs.
two-dimensional.
And
Yeah.
you put them on top of like little
Those little what do you call
boxes.
them?
They're like shoe boxes almost, right?
Right, but then you put that on the wind-up toy.
There's a ball like a electric. It's a ball that was like an electric ball that had a battery in it, and if it's just for kids, and if you put it on the ground, it would just
goes in random. It doesn't go in a set pattern. It goes in random directions.
Right. So he puts
yeah.
He houses it on the bottom side of the hollow side of the shoebox that has the duck and the frog on there. And so while the two characters are talking, ducks are just floating around this little pool noodle,
just moving
lake.
gently around. It was
Unbelievable. It was the coolest thing ever. It was just so great.
Yeah, and the bed that would suspend.
Yeah,
just drop down
everything
on pulleys.
Pulleys and sandbags, right?
Yeah,
that was good stuff.
Yeah, really exciting. I mean, it's just so exciting when when you see creativity like that. That's pure imagination. You look at. It's amazing when you see what a Marvel studio does, but they're doing it with $300 million. When you come up with something creative for $3, it can take your breath away.
Yeah, we joke around, be like, give me $10 in a dumpster and see what we can do. And
yeah.
Christmas
really,
lights.
really exciting.
Always.
Those are good times.
Yeah, and then I ended up moving back up to Seattle in 2000, and you've been soldiering on ever since.
We're having a couple wives and kids and all sorts of stuff.
So I'm going to share with you. I got on your.
First.
This is stuff. There's nothing that's going to surprise
you. No, so it's
This is your website. So I'm going to just share with you some photos. Let me do this first. I have to make a little adjustment, and then I'm going to do a share so you can see it. Let's see. I think it's this one. Okay, there you are. Let me move you over a little bit. And then there we go. Okay, so let me turn this on. Where is it? Okay, so I'm just going to show photos from your website, and I just want you to tell me anything you remember and anything that might come to mind that you want to share about this.
This is from Grimm. I was what fans voted to be the ugliest, they call them Vessens when they turn into these creatures, and mine was a blobfish. Which got the Grimm message boards very excited. I think I've just been beaten up by some hostiles here.
The blobfish? What?
Yeah, a blobfish. You ever seen those blobfishes? They lurk at the bottom of the ocean. They're just like, So that's what I turned into when I got.
Are there any images of you being the blobfish?
There probably are. I'm not putting them on my website though, because the blobfish is really hideous. Yeah, this is also still from Grimm.
Nice. Yeah,
I tend to play a lot of people who are either really creepy or really fearful. So yeah, that's more this shot. Grimm shot in Portland, which was a really fun city to be in for a couple weeks. And as you know,
you're such a subtle actor. I can't always tell creepy from fear. I mean, it's you have to really look.
Sometimes I layer stuff. So this is a '70s show. That's sort of what launched Oh, and I think you commented on my Facebook post because the '90s show is now rehashing people that did the '70s show, and I was one of them. I played Earl, who was always getting fired and coming up with ridiculous excuses.
That's great. Now, and then you just went back and did another
Yeah,
episode
they
of.
now the '90s show and is on Netflix, and they're kind of nostalgically bringing back people who were established in the '70s show, but it's now 20 years later to see what they are.
How
And
fun was that? Was that a
it was
blast?
it was fun. I mean, I really like Kurtwood Smith plays, Red's he
The
plays
dad.
Red, the dad, and I've always loved him. He's a super great guy. It was wonderful to see him and act with him again, and it's kind of fun to see these like little press blurbs about, oh, Earl's back from that '70s show, and that was
Totally.
kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot going on right now. There's a lot of things that are out on the.
Yes, there are. There are
Well,
some
we'll hear
good
more about that.
things.
So is the
Some,
same.
in fact, you can't see it, but I'm being about to be fired by Danny Bonaducci. I don't know if any of your audience even knows who Danny
Oh, dang.
Bonaducci is.
Oh, he was my
He-
childhood hero,
yeah,
man.
Partridge
Treasure.
Family, and he's gone through some interesting travails over his life too.
Oh,
But
I was thinking of Johnny Whitaker. No, no, this. Okay, I know who you're talking about. That was Partridge
Danny
Family.
Partridge was
Yeah,
the redhead,
yeah,
the
yeah.
younger brother of David Cassidy on
Right.
Partridge Family.
Oh, yeah,
But he had a radio show for a long time,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
was, yeah. About
More
'70s
'70s
show
show.
about to get
Okay.
fired. This is My name is Earl, and I think I'm talking to. I think they were doing sort of a thing on the Bubba Gump shrimp thing, where I'm talking about all the different kinds of chicken that you can do.
Oh, that's
Uh,
great.
Jack, Washington Lottery commercials.
You look a
Um,
little. You could be.
Despondent.
You could be. What's the guy's name? Tony Hale's brother here. You guys have a little
Okay,
bit of a similar look.
I got a great Tony Hale story.
Oh,
So
good.
he's a friend of mine because he's more famous than I am, but we will audition similar stuff, right? And we were at a party.
And just
We were talking.
anybody who's not, Tony Hale he played Buster Bluth in Arrested Development, and he also played
On Veep.
on Veep. He played the personal assistant to Julie Louis-Dreyfus, who's
Great actor, great actor.
amazing. Yeah.
And he's got a kid. He's got kids exactly my age, kids. And so we're talking about parenting and stuff. And I said, my kids are really kind of it's sometimes a little embarrassing about what their dad does, because I've done some commercials, and I was talking about the Got Milk commercial where I kind of show my butt and I'm in a big toga and stuff like that. And I say, oh, my son's like, oh no, dad's another one of dad's commercials. And Tony goes, yeah, try being Buster Bluth. My daughter, her father is like somebody who's emotionally stunted. He's in love with his mother. He's dating Liza Minnelli. Like he went on and on. I was like, okay, you're right, you win.
Yeah, you're not gonna. Yeah, you're not
I'm
gonna
not
win
going to top that. Another commercial, I think State Farm. Again, you know what? I play all the people that you don't want to. I could count on one hand the times where I'm the spokesperson for the product they're selling. I'm always representative of the product you don't want,
Oh, that's
right?
great.
Like you could have Windows installed by our guys or this guy, and then they cut to me. I'm like, wah, wah, like it's just been my career from the beginning.
Oh, that's great. State Farm. This looks like
That
a
was
State Farm.
should have bought a Falcon. That one was a good commercial.
That's funny. Jesus.
Should have got a Falcon.
Oh,
Oh, that was a cool commercial.
This looks neat.
Is it okay to tell stories about these?
Yeah, just
So-
jump in. Yeah.
So this guy, this is a commercial for it was a European financial services company. It wasn't even going to air in the U.S. and so it had no like English. It was all done through just physical action. And we noticed on the day that like people are not. I mean, the director is getting some attention, but people are really looking to this one guy who is the cinematographer. And like for his advice, like you could see who was kind of controlling the set.
Mhm.
And so I look on my call sheet and I look his name's Bob Richardson. I look him up. I'm like, oh my Lord, this guy's won like 4 Academy Awards for cinematography. He did Snow Falling on Cedars. He did like all,
Oh,
I
geez.
mean, and he was slumming it in the commercial world. I don't know what they paid him, but this commercial, it's on my website. If you freeze frame it, almost every still is
This is gorgeous.
is a piece of art. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just gorgeous, and you're like, wow, this guy is good. And so it was kind of cool. I'm like, I'm working with Bob Richardson.
You know what you should do if you haven't already is just, I mean, I would just screenshot a ton. I mean, that's just a gorgeous
And
photo
just
with their,
as a piece of art, yeah,
yeah, just
yeah,
blow
it's
those up and get
beautiful,
them on your wall.
amazing. Geico commercial. That was that little kid playing about to play the guitar in the back. Again, somebody whose life is not going well. I don't know why I play people whose things aren't going. Very funny commercial for stopping smoking, where you're trying to relearn to do stuff, and I couldn't figure out how to drink coffee without a cigarette.
Oh, that's great.
That's the famous Got Milk commercial. It starts with this beautiful woman in these long flowing robes, and then she jumps in the pool, and instead of her coming out, I come out. And my line is something about like, oh, you don't like having your dreams interrupted? Maybe there's a drink for that. And it's Got Milk. And I turn around, do a little flip, and you see a little butt shot. That's the one my son was like, oh no.
That but you can also say that put you to Cornell, my
Right,
friend.
exactly. See? Who's paying your tuition right now?
Right. Tell me, are you auditioning for all these days, or are they coming?
It's about half and half. Where with commercials, yeah, I'm not at the star level where they're offering commercials. Commercials, they all need to sign off on who they've got. But theatrically, about half of my stuff now has been offers
That's so
where
great.
they know me well enough that they'll say, will you come in and do this? Which it is great, but it's also, I've found, and you'll appreciate this, it's a little more nerve-wracking because you haven't shown them what you're going to do with the role yet. So when you get there, if you're insecure about it, in the back of your life, you're thinking they're going to have this conversation. Oh no, what did we do? We just made a mistake. We hired this guy without seeing how he was going to play the. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the insecurity starts to
It
fly because
hasn't.
with an audition, they saw your
they saw it, they liked it, and you're going to repeat
off on
that.
it.
Yeah. So there's that element which I wasn't kind of prepared for. It hasn't backfired on me yet, or nobody said anything to my face, but but yeah, it's kind of a little different. You're going in a little more blind. Yeah, this is a.
When you started, I mean, there's so many scenes of you just wearing goofy things. Did that immediately? Did you cultivate that, or did that just?
I think that just sort of happened organically. I think people think that my face lends itself to being put in funny outfits and.
Well, I wouldn't say just
situation.
your face, but if they're not putting you in funny outfits, I've seen some of your Halloween stuff. So
I guess some of it's me. Yeah, I do. Yeah, you're gonna my tendency to play dress up.
It goes beyond your job.
Yes.
What's this?
That is a Dodge commercial where a missile was racing the Dodge Viper and just went through a billboard as this particular state trooper was eating his donut.
So great.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Look at that mustache.
I know, right?
They made no attempt to make it look real. It's almost Groucho.
That's the biggest, bushiest, most ridiculous.
Oh, get out.
Don't remember the product. I know that I'm Moses.
Oh, we have a comment from Monk who wants to ask, how would you rank your butt shot in terms of Hollywood butt shots?
I think, Monk, it depends what keywords you search. You like to search under for your butt shot. If you like flat and old, it's probably I'm going to get a fairly high rating. Yeah. That's Altel. That's another commercial. He's about to just pull off my clip-on tie, which is a really funny moment. Another nice lighting. I mean, they put so much money into these spots, and they're really mini movies.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know if people are shooting commercials is such a different world because there's so many generally so many cooks in the kitchen. You know, you have the agency, the client, and the director, and sometimes it's not as much fun to shoot because you don't really know who's the creative
Yeah.
lead, and you're always under the gun time wise and stuff like that. But they look beautiful,
Yeah,
and
they do.
I'm not going to turn them down.
Look, I mean, look, you get to be. I mean, you just get to. It cracks me up. You get to do all these, wear this stuff. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Dang, Comcast. There we go.
Comcast. Yeah, that was one
Carfax.
of the very first ones. That's not the dog jumping the car. The dog's driving. I'm teaching this dog to drive. I don't think I have a wide shot, but in the driver's seat is this dog, and it was a great commercial. It's one of my all-time favorites. And the dog starts chasing the ducks, and I'm like, no, no ducks, no ducks. And then you see the truck go launch itself into the dam, this water, and it crashes, and then the Carfax logo comes up, and something about, you don't know what people have done to their cars until you
Oh, right.
pull their Carfax and stuff. And it was a great commercial. And this was back in the 90s.
Did they actually launch a real car into a?
Yeah, not with me in it. They had a dummy truck. That was the end of the day.
Were you
They
there?
had
Did you get to see it?
Yeah, I saw it. It's always cool to see that one stunt that they know they've only got one shot at.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think I have a picture of it, but I did a Diet Pepsi commercial with Cuba Gooding Jr. where they blew up a car, and they loaded it with munitions and just exploded the thing. Again, another creeper.
Creepily looking under
Yeah.
another creeper. There we go.
That's a lot of window shots. Oh, I did this
You were
show.
not. Were you wait, you were a rodeo clown.
I was a rodeo clown. This is that show called Quick Draw, which is on Hulu. It was all improvised Western, and it was a really fun.
I love that show, Bob. That show
one of my
made
favorite
me
shows to
laugh
shoot.
so hard. I wish that had gotten
Yeah, we
more
got a
attention.
couple seasons out of it, but it was really inventive, and I think you can still watch it on Hulu. It's a really fun,
Yeah, it's called Quick Draw.
good-hearted show. Yeah,
Really
yeah.
fun. Same
That's
one, right?
another
Yeah.
one, same thing. Yeah, I played the Undertaker.
There you go.
More Vernon Shank. This was a fantasy sequence. Nice sideburns. I don't know what that is on the spit.
It looked like they got socks on it or something.
Yeah, they do. It's a
What is
a rabbit with socks. Yeah.
There we go. More of that. Clearly. Oh, there we go.
Oh, we went
one.
undercover in Quick Draw. We went undercover as ladies of the night who couldn't get a date.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, wow. There we got that dead, guys.
There's
your.
inside the.
All right. I'm going to skip through some of these.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
great.
got a lot of them. Yeah.
Oh my God. There you go, a little backstage.
Another bad
Oh, look at you.
Cougar Town where they had a very funny
Look at you got the
gag
tan,
where
the tan
yeah,
face.
I had a fake bronzer tan. I started to get all hip, and all these far too attractive women were interested in me. I think that was the joke. Back to the rodeo club. A
So,
lot of inmates.
oh, dude, this is just crazy. Your life.
Yeah. I know, it's weird, right? Oh, go back to that one.
Yeah.
Go back to that one. So this was funny. It was a Cougar Town episode. What was really funny is that we all, because there was a fight sequence, all three of us had stunt doubles.
That's your stunt double.
So that's my stunt double. That's Brian's stunt double, and there's Ian's stunt double there. It was just kind of funny to see the three of us.
That's amazing. There you go.
With Courtney, she's the doll, the best. What was that Charlie Sheen show?
You look like you look
this.
like Nicolas Cage here.
Yeah. Well, the best put down I had was somebody on Twitter said that I'm what happens when you order Nicolas Cage on Temu.
You know, you gotta give people credit for.
I did. I said, you know what?
takedown.
I don't like your politics, but that was a really good insult, so I'm going to give you credit for that.
Oh God.
Oh, Paul, this is hard.
Yeah.
There's Scrubs. We're back to Scrubs now.
That was a great show. That was a really fun
Yeah.
show. Hey, did you have a little dance there?
Little dance number. God, what I've done. This is.
Oh, but and there's our friend Dan.
There's our friend Dan.
I can't believe you guys. That must have been crazy.
What a great coincidence that was.
So Dan's a good friend of our ours. We both went to grad school with them, and the three of us have been dear friends ever since.
Yeah.
And Dan's down in LA. He's an accomplished theater actor and has been making, he's been doing really well in LA for a while. But what are the chances, without it being a connection through a friend, to be in the same show? And you guys was this Longmire?
Yeah, Longmire, right. And it
And
was
you
shot in
actually had
Santa
a scene
Fe.
together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When did you find out about that? Because usually it's
Um,
like,
I'd helped him put himself on tape, so I knew that
oh, okay, so you knew that this was a
yeah,
potential.
there was
Okay.
a potential, yeah. And then he
That's
got
great.
it, which was so great. Um, you know, The Closer, one of my first shows.
There we go.
More Dan here.
There. All right, so
I think yeah, he pull out of these. I think these are outtakes.
great. Bud Light. All right. Oh, you and Charlie Sheen. I keep
Yeah,
wanting to it's not. I keep wanting to move on to other things, but this is just too good.
you can't stop.
I can't stop. I've seen this on your. You've used
I
this in
use
the
that as my
past.
profile. Yeah, that's a good one.
There we go. And then was it fun to connect with? I think this is it. I think we're back to where we were. Yeah. Um, was it fun to connect with Bill Lawrence again?
It was. I just adore that guy. He's been so kind to me, and he uses me in most of his projects. I think he's clearly great at what he does, and he's just one of those people that's so fun to work for because the sets don't really have any problematic people. They're just people who love what they do. They know that it's great to have this gig, and they're just fun. The Scrub set was that way. Cougar Town was that way. This show I'm in now, Bad Monkey, which is airing now on Apple, was that way with Vince Vaughn. So yeah,
What?
really, really nice guy.
And it sounded like there's something else going on right now. Is this something you can talk about?
Yeah, well, it'll start, I think, in October. It was an HBO show called Bookie, and it's with Sebastian Maniscalco. Do you know that he was a stand-up before
Yeah.
he
Okay.
got
I
this
think I
series?
know
He's
what you're talking about.
very New York. He's very, very New York. And he is an LA bookie in Underworld. And it's a Chuck Lorre show. Chuck Lorre is like the king of God, he did
Yeah.
everything. Roseanne, Grace Under Fire,
Right. Right. Right.
Two
Right.
and a
Right.
Half
Yeah.
Men, with the genius one. But this is a single camera, and it's I was in the first season as this kind of really weird bank manager that they didn't know what to do, and then in the second season I've got a great plot line. I end up leaving the bank and working with them, and
Nice.
some bad stuff happens to
Are
me, and
these?
it's really
Is this like? Is this comedy or is this?
it's a half hour, but it's a single camera. It's going to be sort of in that middle ground.
Dude, are you excited about
I'm
this?
really excited. This one, both Bad Monkey and Bookie I was really fun to work on because they were great character stuff, well written. I loved working on them. I had real like arcs. It wasn't just that one and done. And I think I do, I kind of really like the work that I did. So
Nice,
I'm
man.
proud
That's
of it.
great.
Yeah.
So I have to ask. I think I asked you this once before, but I don't know what the answer is. But like my LA career, I did less than a dozen gigs ever. Like in terms of film, TV, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still get residuals. I still get like the SAG envelope in the mail, which you don't know what it is. You know it's a residual, but there's no, you don't know in advance. It's a
No.
little surprise. And back in the
Yeah.
day when I first made those, you get the full amount. So when you get that residual,
You're like,
sometimes you're like, well, I got a couple grand or whatever,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you'll get one and it's like $5. And then as the years go on, it's less and less, but occasionally you get a big bump and occasionally it's a little low. So I still get a kick out of once every couple months, I'll get that SAG
Yeah.
check. And of course
Right.
I've had the 1 cent check or whatever
Sure.
it is. And I don't make any money anymore. Although I think the money I made the most, I got almost completely cut out of a movie. I had one scene.
Doesn't
All you do is see me open a car door for Angelina Jolie. I'm not even in it anymore.
matter. Still see it.
I've made so much money on that.
Right? Isn't it crazy?
That's crazy. So here you have made 100 and something TVs, movies, commercials. Your every day must be Christmas for you. Or do
You have no idea. You
do you
get
walk
those
to the mailbox every day and just get to like open up your stack of residuals?
Unfortunately, I started doing the direct deposit, so you don't get that joy of the surprise of
that must have been fun for a while, though.
It was really fun, and sometimes what was really fun is you go away for like, if you went away on a vacation, you came back after 2 weeks, and you got to see how many envelopes did I get. It was super helpful pandemic because I made my insurance requirements just from the residuals. So
Right.
And that really got us through those kind of tough 2 years. And then there was the strike and stuff. I mean, it's not huge, but sometimes it's a really nice amount that might have 4 figures, but generally it's less than that, and it's just sort of a steady thing. But then as I've been working and doing new shows, then those residual amounts are going to be a little nicer when they and we just did, this is getting into the weeds, but like the SAG strike just got us a real bump for these streaming platforms like HBO and Apple and stuff.
That was necessary.
Yeah, it was not good before that, and so now hopefully we'll see a little bit more realistic money with those platforms. But
cool.
Yeah, I mean it's nice. I mean, we still we live very modestly because you just never know how good your month or 2 months is going to be.
For sure.
We both know people who have thought that something was going to continue and doesn't, and suddenly, you have to sell that Porsche that you bought,
Exactly.
And I've never been that way. I'd rather just know that we're safe for 6 months and
right.
Play it smart.
Well, speaking of Porsches, so we gotta finally, face the elephant in the room, and that is your genius work on LA Noire. And we need to, this is why you're here. This is why I can officially have you on this channel, because we both were in a game, and this is this was yours. So it was funny. I was my partner Daniel, who is a game developer out of Israel, and he reached out to me when I started doing these interviews, and he was a big fan of my game when he was a kid, and now he's just so much more technically savvy. So the fact that I can even run this today because he's on vacation, I'm amazed that we're getting through this okay. But we'll play these games, and he's a gamer, so I think the sort of conceit of Conversations with Curtis is that Daniel is a guy who played all these games when he was a kid. He's 40 something now, but he knows them like the back of his hand. Most of our fans are in the same category. They were teenagers when they first played these games, and they know them really well. So he'll recommend a game, and usually it's a game that was, that they played when they were younger. And then I play it, and they all just get a kick out of watching
you
just fumble and just miss all of the clues. And they will be screaming on the chat like, "No, turn left!" And they get a kick out of it. I get very frustrated, but I think they enjoy seeing someone, flail like they did when they were younger.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how our thing is. So somebody had recommended LA Noire. We're branching into, well, that's not necessarily a newer game. That's 2011, but we've gotten out of the 90s. And so we're playing it. It's a long game. It's the dude from Mad Men, and you see that I didn't know about this uncanny valley thing where, it's animated, but it's clearly someone's real face, because I recognized him from Mad Men, and you're wandering around and bumping into furniture and looking for things. And so we're playing. We did like 4 episodes, and these are like 2-hour streams. So about the 3rd or 4th episode, I hear a voice, and I'm like, "Whoa, that's Bob." I had no idea you were in this. Yeah. And then the uncanny valley Bob shows up, and and before I know it, you got shot, and you were gone.
Yeah,
but
people
I
love to
knew
shoot
that
me.
I knew there were more scenes that you were in, and I tracked them down. And so before you tell us, well, I guess this is your chance now before I share with you. Um, tell us what you remember about that job.
Well, as you know, like I was nervous about coming on your show because I'm not a gamer. Like I
Yeah.
did this one gig, I think, and what I meant to do this before coming on here was to cross-reference the guest cast from all the supporting actors from LA Confidential who they clearly pulled from for LA Noire. I don't know if you were
Oh,
aware
yeah.
of
And
that.
that was one of your first movies,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So, and if you go, there are a bunch of it. I think there's a dozen of us who were all kind of played little ancillary roles in LA Confidential, because LA Noire was not an audition. They called my agent and said, will he do this? It's 2 hours on a Wednesday, to record what we need. So I'm, not a gamer. I didn't audition, but that was clearly, I think, in their mind was to do this LA Confidential kind of subtle,
Anybody who knows the movie is going to go, oh, okay.
oh, there's that guy.
Yeah.
There's that guy.
Little
Right,
Easter eggs for
exactly.
their fans. Yeah.
Um, but it was just so unlike anything I'd ever done. It was for our thing. All we did was go into this. It was a perfectly circular room that had, I think, 24 micro cameras stationed at even intervals around so it was even on the back of your head, and you sat in a chair, and there was a big. It was
Were
kind
you
of.
wearing mocap stuff? Were you, did they
No,
put,
no
no?
mocap, nothing. Just a all black, wearing black, and
Oh my
we
God.
were in this room. And I don't remember if the room was green screened or if it was just a like an ivory but there was a speaker from the director's chair, and he could give you commands, and he just fed us lines, fed us, angrier. They could do that a little softer. Do it like you're trying to flirt. Do it now. Do this line. Do that. And so it's really surreal. And you're
Is
just
there
hearing this
anybody on, are you by yourself or are you
all by
interact?
yourself in the middle of a room with
You
24
never
cameras
interact with
running.
the other actor that
Never
you would.
touch, never saw him. We saw him in the waiting room. Your turn coming up, and I was probably in the room for maybe half an hour, being fed all these different lines. So you never saw a script, I never did a physical action. All I did, he might say, look to your right, now say it, look to your left, do this, look up, squint your face, do that. Like, so it was all very robotic. And then they just pieced it all together. And I've never played it, but people send me like screenshots or video clips when they shoot me in the face or whatever, because they think it's fun. Because those are the kinds of friends I have. And I think I show up several times during the course of the game, like in the parking lot and in a bar and stuff like that. Other than that, we've
Okay,
exhausted
good.
all my knowledge of it.
All
So,
right. So, yeah, well, you know, with these games, if you make a choice, there are choices that you can make. And as a result, I guess we didn't go into the bar that your character was in time. So when we went to the other location, you showed up. And so we got we got to see the end of you. But then someone said, no, there's a lot more. If you had just gone into the bar, you would have experienced this.
uh
So I want to share with you
oh
somebody,
no.
and I'm going to say
Okay.
here a YouTuber by the name of uh, Dr. Drill VGA, um, created a YouTube clip saying Earl from that '70s show spotted several times in LA Noire. So
Oh
he put
no.
together a little. Let me see. I have to do this again.
I'm so excited
I'm
to
going to
see
share
this.
with you.
Okay.
We got to do that and sound. You should be able to hear sound. Okay, there's that. There you are. There that is. Let's make sure it's all okay. And let's see. I want to make sure this is where I need a technician. Oh, there we go. Yep. Eleanor. Oh no, there it is. Oh, wait. Let's get rid of that. Excellent. It's all working. Make this a little bigger. Eleanor. All right, I guess that's good enough for now. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah, barely.
Oh, hold on. I don't think it's. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I need to fix. You guys everybody talk amongst yourselves. This is what happens
Bye-bye.
to me all the time. LA Noire clip. There's that. And then I need to do this. Big game. All right. Why isn't that working?
You're wearing a lot of hats on this
I am
phone.
wearing a lot of hats. Okay, if I do that. There's that. I'm just going to do it one more time. Oh, I like more. There. Okay. That's weird. Okay, here it is. Here it is. I don't know why. I'm going to put this in front. Oh, that's it. All right, let's see if this works. No, let's see.
I don't know what you're talking about. We weren't doing nothing.
This is wait, stop.
I've seen you little sons of bitches prowling around my store.
Wait a minute. Come on, man. Let's see.
no.
Let's get rid of this.
I'm so terrible.
No, you should be, but you're lucky you don't have to deal with this yet. So let's see. I can get rid of. Why are you there? No. But why? There we go. That should be it. All right. So now I just need to make sure everything is. Okay. I think I fixed it.
I am very impressed, by the way.
Well, now you're seeing behind the.
I'm seeing how the
behind the
sausage
curtain a
gets
little
made.
bit. Yeah.
Mm.
There we go. Okay. Here we go.
Or I'll show you. I'll teach you not to.
Sir, drop the weapon. You've been drinking, sir. You don't really want to.
3 times I've been robbed. Ain't nothing gets done about it.
I remember that freaked me out. See, so here we go. So, but at some point, I want you to tell me. I know that you're someone who's drank a little bit, but just tell me when it's fear and tell me when it's creepy. All right.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
Wrinkled was not one of the things I wanted to be when I grew up.
Wrinkled is not one of the things I wanted to be when I grew up. Look at this. It's so weird
bizarre.
So the thing is, and this guy's doing it here, is that in the game, you can.
Wrinkled was not one of the things I wanted to be when I grew up.
In the game, you can just wander. You can wander up to a character. So, like, we play the guy with the hat. So the guy with the hat is the person you walk up to.
Wait, this guy in the middle? Between the three of us? Okay.
He's you. And so you're going to move him around the streets. You're going to get him into the car. You're going to drive, and you're going to, you use him when you have to shoot a bad guy. But when you're wandering around, you see characters in different locations. And if you walk up to a certain character, it will auto trigger some of the lines that you said, or it allows you to interact with them. And so that is, so let's go back here.
You're a real asshole, you know that?
They captured every one of your lines.
Did you read about the woman who stabbed her husband and pushed him in front of the car? That's the cop that caught her.
Oh my God.
I think his name was Phelps. He brought in that case for that poor lady killed near City Hall.
So now you can see the way. Now watch the way. There you are walking. This is it. And see, I thought that was you, Bob.
Am I the same character throughout, or do I play multiple
Only
characters?
movie stars have things like that.
Oh, no, it's the same
guy.
character.
It's the same guy. Now look, notice how he's moving around. He's looking.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to connect with you. So if he gets a little closer to your character, and look at these.
I'm
checking out an apple.
Yeah, I might get that.
And now he walked up to you a little closer. There you go, and that triggers this.
This is fascinating.
Isn't it?
Is he moving the?
Did you
Yeah.
read about the woman
the,
who stabbed her husband and pushed him in front of the car? That's the cop that caught her.
So clearly you only had so many
Wrinkled
lines.
was not one of the things I wanted to be
Yeah.
when I
So
grew
the
up.
wrinkled line keeps coming up. So you're on a loop.
Only
Whenever I
movie
stick
stars
around.
have things like that. You're a real
Wow.
asshole, you know that?
Yeah, I wasn't filming for more than 30, 45 minutes. So
But
like,
I was convinced that I just thought that this was mocap, and so they were using your body movements and stuff. But that's all
no,
animated. It's
all
just your
that's
face
animated.
that they.
Yeah.
So, yeah. they're
You
trying
can
to-
follow.
One
Are
of the
you
things I
are you
wanted
trying to
be
solve
when
a
I
crime?
grew up.
It's about time some movie.
Yeah, you're trying to solve various crimes. So that throughout
Okay.
the game, you get like you go to, it's like Hill Street Blues. The morning you get the rundown
the
of all the
briefing,
things that are
right.
happening, and then you go out and you solve the crime, and then it's the next day, and so you get like various crimes that you get to solve. It's really fun. It's a really good game. But you've got like 5 or 6 lines total without the ones
You're
of you
a
getting
real asshole, you know
killed,
that?
but we can
Yeah.
see you in all these weird locations, and so like for whatever reason, there you are again.
We were at school together. How about you buy me a drink for old time's sake? Yeah, you and me go way back. Way back. Ain't that right?
So, and then you can see like he's
Perfect.
walking into you, but you're not
Tall
moving,
glass,
right?
No ice.
So the funny thing is that as you are, I'm terrible at navigating. So as I'm trying to move, the
Yeah.
cop past you or into the door, I bump into I bump into the wall, or I bump into the
Yeah,
column,
yeah.
and he just sort of wanders. He just keeps walking until you move around, and it's just the game mechanics of it. And so there was just a couple more seconds of this, and then I want to show you something that I thought was just hilarious.
Just bring me the bottle.
Okay,
Hi,
so that's
this is
that.
Senator Bernie Sanders.
Hey, Bernie Sanders.
Hey, Bernie.
All right, so let me stop sharing, and then I'm going to show something to you.
Was the game for the time? Was it very innovative for? Was that game particularly innovative when it came out for what it did?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, I'm not very good at. That's where Daniel would come in and tell you all the details. But yeah, and these guys might jump on. And by the way, everyone, thank you for. It's so great having y'all here. And I'm going to share one more video with Bob, and then
Oh yes,
if
he
you
says
want,
yes.
it would be great to. It would be great to get your questions, and we'll spend the last 10, 15 minutes answering any questions y'all have. Let's see, Funny or Die.
Yeah, at the time it was. Okay, this is helpful.
Oh, you're on there. Okay, look at you.
I'm reading these responses. Oh, that's interesting. It says you're supposed to read the facial expressions to tell who's lying to you. That's very cool.
Right, and then you get to. Is that, where is it? Was it Funny or Die? Let's do Funny or Die. LA Noire, right?
Yeah, looks
Oh,
like
there-
people did really enjoy it. Fantastic game. Huh.
Someone.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, you talk to them for a second.
Oh my God.
Ah!
What is this? Now it's your turn.
Let me do this really quick. I'll find.
I am staring into your soul, and I can take it at any time. It didn't do that good for Rockstar standards. Interesting. Is it
Oh, here it is. That's great. Okay.
I guess I wonder if it's like retro now, or is it past its prime? Is it no longer relevant because it's been surpassed by so many others?
The game, yeah, I think it is. I think it's it was very much part of here we go, I found it. That's great.
Oh, not retro, still on. Cool.
But if they've just continued to make incredible improvements. So let me share this with you. I'm going to share again. And I shared this
Thanks,
with some
brother.
folks when we played this a while back, but I thought you'd get a kick out of it. So this is a Funny or Die video
Oh, it was
that
re-released.
someone created as a sort of a spoof of the thing. So let's see. Here you go. You just disappeared. There you are. I got to share. You're shared. There you go. And then let me fix this really quick. Oh. And so yeah, you got to watch this. Hold on. Okay. Okay, here we go.
So whatever happened to that whistleblower McCreary case?
Well, it turned out he was innocent, so I planted the reefer on him and then shot him dead. Ah, crap. Here comes Phelps.
Oh god, I hate that guy.
Hello, gentlemen.
Phelps?
It's a hot one out there.
You can't get by him.
I'm stuck on this chair.
I saw you in the paper again, Phelps.
Oh, yeah. I solved another naked lady murder.
It's true. All these
He's got the walk down.
Yeah, he does.
Ah, coffee.
It says press any object.
Come on, Phelps.
This doesn't seem to help me.
Well, I think I am going to get back to work.
So, what were you up to this weekend?
Oh, well, me and Janice took the kids down to the beach. Little picnic, you know.
Truth, doubt, lie.
Oh,
If you hit
interesting.
doubt, it'll make him.
Bullshit! You expect me to believe that, you son of a bitch?
Whoa, Jesus Christ, calm down.
Tell me what I want to know about your family weekend and things will go a lot better for you.
Stop yelling at me.
Well, that's all the questions I have for now.
You're just not a good cop, okay?
What do you mean? I solved the white stocking case.
What do I mean? Don't you remember what you did at the crime scene yesterday?
And then they go into like the crime scene, and you're picking up bottles and looking at them. They just nail it.
This is really great. This is really smart. I mean, there's a bunch of people who have no idea what this is, why this is so funny, but this is really good.
Yeah, there's numerous times that you're
That's
having to.
police work.
No, that's not police work.
You know what? Screw you guys. I'm a goddamn good cop. I don't care what either one of you say.
Cop runs over 75 people in car, please. Yeah, so you're also. That's great. Stop.
That's very good. Very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, in the game too, you get in a car and you drive through the streets of LA and you're trying to get from one place
Yeah.
to another, but you end up banging into other cars and you take out light posts, and it's just really hilarious to drive around, and there's just so yeah, they nailed that.
Really smart. That's great.
All right. Well, I will guys, I'm going to leave. We'll
Oh,
chat
yeah.
for a little bit more. I don't want to take up more. We have 10 minutes max here. and
We,
then
wow, that went by really
I know.
quickly.
Well, it's my conversational style.
Yeah, you're like
lull
David Frost. You're very David Frost.
I lull people into a sense of just like, okay, I just got to hibernate here, and then maybe
Right.
the time will go by.
You need to be more like, who was the one who was famous for making everybody cry? Barbara Walters? Or
That's right. Barbara was the one. That's
you
right.
should really like talk about more about my childhood and
Yeah.
any relatives I lost, stuff like that.
Do you still, Uncle Bill?
Right, exactly.
Well, anything. Yeah. So I just sometimes it's but yeah, if you have some questions for Bob, throw them in the chat, and then and we'll go from there. So yeah, I don't know if I don't want to get too deep into the family thing, but we did talk a little. I just can't believe you've got boys that are out of
Yeah,
the house.
they're like real grown-ups. They're like already adulting, and it's
And
so
what
weird.
and what are they both into? What's their
So they're both like my older sons of, I think they're called fintech bros. He's like in the world of finance. Works in New York for a big
really?
BlackRock. It's a huge.
Is this was this tell me I've been
Oh,
my
spicy
guess
one. I
is
like that. Hold on. What do you think?
I'll read it for you. So
Yeah.
Spicy One says, what do you think enables an actor like Kurtwood
Yeah.
Smith to be a main in a show and someone like you to come back once in a while? Agents, luck, skill?
Oh, like why is he? He's like Kurtwood's also had an amazing career as a character guy. But if you look at his resume, everything in the 70s, 80s, 90s, it was like a lot of the small supporting stuff. Now, like in the sitcom world, they need a dad, but like the real stars of that show were, Ashton and Topher and Laura and that stuff. And the mom and dad is usually kind of like an afterthought, but they had to be regulars. So I don't think that really answers your question. I think like Kurt was just sort of a little more easily visually palatable than I'm like, because I'm very striking looking.
Visually palatable.
I'm going to be a little bit more on the periphery, but I think for the most part we're sort of all in the same bin.
Yeah.
It's a good bin.
It's a good bin. No, I want to get back just to. So, did your son decide like, okay, I'm just going to play in finance, retire at 35, and then I'll figure some other stuff out, or is this something he's truly? Is he going to do this because it's a quick means to an end? And
I think it is the form.
Playground to play
he likes finance. He's a math guy. He likes expensive stuff, and he likes nice meals and things. So I think the lure of the trappings kind of appealed to him, but I also think he's got a real knack for that kind of thinking and stuff. I think he's not.
Is he
really
getting
into
your
that.
guys your retirement in order? And
Hopefully, hopefully he's gonna. I'm not trusting him totally yet. I'm gonna see how it works out, but yeah. So, but I think he. I don't see him loving the 120 hours a week that they're gonna demand him for the next year or two. I think then he'll probably want something a little simpler. But
yeah.
Oh, hold on. Is it true this on the Scrubs set?
Let's see. Is it true that on the
inseparable.
Scrubs set, Zach Braff and Donald Faison were inseparable?
They are besties beyond besties. They did that. They never had me on, which I gave Zach a hard time about, but they would reference me occasionally because, they work from episode to episode and they would talk about some of
their
podcast.
They didn't have you on for that?
No, but I saw Zach at this the Bad Monkey premiere, and he's like, "Oh, we still want to have you on." And so, all right, we'll see if that happens. I think they know I'm a loose cannon, so they don't want to risk it. But yeah, he and Donald were really best friends. They go out socially. They loved each other on set. They had a really very tight, special friendship, and they were super great to everybody else too. But you could
I haven't listened to their podcast. I bet you it's really fun. I bet you
it's really great. I mean, now they've gone through the entire season, so I don't know what they're talking about now, whether it's just general stuff, but they would go each episode, just talk about that particular episode and go sequentially through, and they'd have Bill on occasionally, or any of the bigger stars they'd have on.
Yeah, that's great.
And they're funny, and they're both funny guys, and just hearing them riff about, the show is kind of super interesting.
Yeah, that's great. Someone else just said how much he liked you on Scrubs. He said so.
Oh,
funny.
very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Someone's currently watching. Good. I think it holds up. I mean, I'm curious to know if you say it holds up, but like, you watch some shows that are from the 2000s, and you're like, it feels really dated. But I think the humor in that show is staying strong. I think it's still a really smart, well-written show that's that people can relate to, even though it's now.
I loved it. I'm trying to get my kids
old.
to watch because my daughter gets obsessed with the show and she'll just watch it over and over again. And she's been watching Modern Family, and that's like 10 seasons.
Yeah, great show.
I've been wanting them to get. I've been recommending Scrubs, especially to them, and I hope they do it because I would watch it again because it's fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, well, Bob, I should let you go here, man. This has been super, super fun. This will be on our channel so other folks can do it. Feel free to direct your.
Send me. Will you send me? Because I'm just a technical dope. So send me a link that I can then promote
Totally. Yeah.
to my 17 followers. So it's that bad. Don't expect a big bump, but I'll do what I can.
Well, hey, I've got it's going to not to be until March, but I do have a couple of gigs down in LA.
Oh, yay.
One at Pepperdine and then one in
Great.
somewhere in LA. So I'll check in with you.
Please check in beforehand, and we'd love to take you to dinner, do anything, see as much of you as we can. So that would be great. And this has just been an absolute joy. Thanks for having me on your show.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
to all your great fans, and I'd love to see you again.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right, kick me out.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Bye. Here he goes. And then I'll go to this. Not smooth, but there it is. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining. This was fun. He's such a great guy. I just adore him as a friend, and I don't see him enough. But whenever I do get to LA, I get a chance to hang out with him and his lovely wife, Erin, and catch up and some of our old friends from school. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. We got to connect him to a game, so it feels in the realm of what we do at Conversations with Curtis. But I do have other. I had spicier questions. Sorry, Nelson. You can. But yeah, I'm hoping to like reach out to more of my my actor friends, and some of them have, anybody I think who has a game credit is worth having these conversations with. They're fun. I miss doing my conversation. I'm a little jealous of all the ones that Daniel have been doing. So nice to get back to it. All right. Well, this was a full week of streaming for me. I didn't miss a day. 6 days. 8 days a week. 5 days this week I streamed. So hope you're all proud of me. It was fun doing very different games. Little Nightmares, Life is Strange, which I'm really enjoying. It's a little, Veronica Mars, which is a show I loved. But I'm really enjoying it. It's so different than what I was expecting. What else do we do? Oh yeah, Not for Broadcast, which I want to get back to. So it's been a good week, and I think I'll be around. I'm gone for a couple of days next week, but I think that Daniel and Spoonie will be back and available. I think we'll try to get part 2 of the Tesla Effect on Monday. So keep an eye out on Discord and social media. I guess that's it. Let me check if there's anything I need to look at in the street. Thanks, Clement. Well, good. I'm glad you guys are. Yeah, if you're open, I have a number of people I could bring on. That would be great. So okay, I got to run. Have a good weekend, everyone, and we will see you on Monday. Take care. Bye.